SK Vibemaker.
SK Vibemaker, my interviews are hotter, and you know we bring through the best special guests. We are not changing tradition anytime soon. Now today, I feel like I'm having a conversation. It's like kind of deja vu, like we've had a recent conversation, but maybe no one heard the conversation, but we're having it again. How about that? Kara Marni's here. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Long time no speak. We didn't speak last week and have an interview.
We definitely didn't, man. It
and
was
then
kind of like
the sound went because the electrics went. We've never had this before.
She's putting it on record. She's really trying to put it on blast.
Listen, I'm happy to see you again.
I'm happy to see you.
It's just
too.
an excuse for us to have another chin whack.
I know, man. And there's no alcohol in the building, so I don't think there is.
Yeah, we're not sat in a pub or anything.
So our last official conversation was 3 years ago. It was 3 years ago. It was like 2018. And I feel like a lot has happened for you since then. Mm-hmm. But for those that don't know, kind of break down your music journey over the last few years and how things have elevated.
So I've literally been just shoving out EPs left, right and centre. No, I put out my third EP recently called State of Mind. And it's been great. Like, I'm just happy to have music out after this craziness we've been through.
Yeah.
And it's basically a diary of my whole experience for the last 2 years. And I kind of went through all the different emotions of like my mental health, feeling like I'm going insane, to people that I met and relationships that I formed and that I didn't form. And it's one of my proudest, I think, projects to date. I think it's like my most vulnerable. But yeah, what's your favorite out of interest?
I mean, I like the whole project, man. I really do. I've been pounding out the track with Russ a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? So I think but I think it's got a lot of life in it. You know, sometimes you hear projects and you kind of feel like, I'll listen to this for a couple of weeks and there's not a lot of life in it. And I feel like there's a lot of life in it. There's a lot of dynamics as well.
Which is,
you know what I'm saying, a good thing. So
you've got good taste. What can I say?
That's the reason why we got you here talking today. You know what I'm saying?
That's the only reason I'm here. Not because I'm just great at talking, can chat your ears off.
So let's talk about, you mentioned about putting mental health into your, into your works, into your music, into your project. And it's kind of like, it's been a buzzword for the last few years. Is it easy for you to incorporate that into your music?
Honestly, I don't think I've opened up that much about it before in a song. I've kind of touched on it, but I think this song Sick of Me on this latest EP is probably the most honest I've been in terms of like just literally me putting my heart on a piece of paper and being like, this is it. And I think the reason why it's probably been talked about a lot is because it's at the forefront now. I think having had such a long time, where we haven't been able to have any distractions from our thoughts. We've been by ourselves, overthinking everything. We have so much time to mull over all of our issues that it's inevitable that people have been affected by it. And I think it's important that I did talk about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been honest with myself. It's easy to just be like, oh, I'm struggling, but actually putting it down and marking it in a song is like, I think it just helps everything. It just makes everything feel, it's like a cathartic process when you're like, okay, do you know
therapeutic.
Yeah, therapeutic. That's the word.
So a little birdie tells me that you used to busk in some very renowned places.
Back in the day.
How long ago was this and how long did you do it for?
So this, do you know what, it's such a throwback because this is where my journey properly began, where I started performing. But yeah, no, it was when I went to Brit School and they were like, there's this slot at Westfield. You can perform at Stratford or the Shepherd's Bush branch. And I was so excited. I would go on the same day. I'd go from Stratford, Westfield, Stratford, Shepherd's Bush. And
for the kicks or for the money or just like?
Oh no, it wasn't. Sometimes, I'd put down, the guitar case or whatever, but it wasn't for that. It's just because I genuinely just loved the idea of singing to people, anyone that would listen to me. I hadn't performed really before that, my own music. I was just kind of more in choirs and stuff.
So that was you like breaking in, like becoming a performer.
Yeah, and honestly, some people that come to my shows now are like, oh, I first heard you in Westfield. And I'm like, wow, people have stuck with me since those days.
That's
where,
dope.
where it was just me. I had my phone with my backing track. I'd sometimes bring my guitar, and it was honestly some of the best memories I have from there. I would be outside Top Shop. I'd play outside all the different shops, and it was great.
Never shy, never needed any liquid courage or anything like that.
Well, not when I was about 15, no.
I mean, nowadays, are you the type of performer that, like, when it comes to your, headline shows, that before you jump on the stage, you knock them back? A lot of artists do.
I'm more of a kind of donut courage. I need like a nice sugary treat.
Donut courage. I've never heard that one.
Creams.
That's mad. That's mad. So let's talk about Young Heart featuring Russ. Featuring Russ, co-produced by Russ. This is a big link up.
Yeah, he is so dope, and I can't believe how the whole thing happened, to be honest. It was literally the night before the first first night of my headline tour, and I literally was just like, I needed to go to sleep. I needed my full 8 hours, because before a show, if I don't get my full 8 hours, I'm half asleep in the middle of the set. So I was like, okay, cool, let's go to sleep. But do you know what? I could have a cheeky flick on the gram. You know, when you're just like tempted, you're like, do you know what? Maybe I will, and then I'll get off. And immediately I looked in my requests and I saw he messaged me, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely not going to be sleeping now.
So the contact was initiated by him?
Yes.
Dope.
He followed me and literally dropped me a message that night. And he basically said something like, he heard my song, Lose My Love, the acoustic version. And literally I sent him, I was so gassed because I'm a very big Russ fan, and I'm a big supporter of his journey being an independent artist, and how he's just climbed the ranks, himself, without a major label, without all the support of those artists, and it's super inspiring to me as well as an independent artist. But he I literally sent this idea. I was like, listen, we need to link, like, I'm a mass fan. He was like, and within the next like hour he sent me it with his
time.
I was like, this guy does not mess around. And literally on the way to the airport, I was just very, very gassed listening to the tune. And
shouts to Russ, he's a cool geezer.
Yeah, he's super dope. And you've done an interview with him.
We've done
before,
a couple
haven't you?
interviews, man. Do you know what I'm saying? So due to do another one very soon as well. So Russ, if you see this, man, we'll talk soon, innit?
I'll pop in.
Kara Marni is in the building today. We're sitting on a nice red couch and everything's rosy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You shining today as well. Like, the top, man, is very, very shiny, kind of like.
I thought I'd dress up for the occasion.
Hey, swag, yeah?
I've got to dress up for you, right?
Swag. I don't know,
make
man. You might get me in trouble if you say things like that too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you have a stylist, or do you like style yourself? I mean, is it easy like that?
No, I do have a stylist. But I did throw this on today myself.
So you're saying this is the throw-on swag, yeah?
This is the throw-on swag.
The effortless swag.
You're going to message me after, be like, yeah, that wasn't quite the right look for. You should have paired it up with a different pair of trousers. I'll be like, listen, if SK approved, then.
Listen to this.
If you put your seal of approval, then no one else can say anything.
I appreciate that. So let's talk about Trippin. Definitely channeling the energy of Amerie. I mean, was Amerie a big influence? Have you met her? Have you spoken to her? Have you communicated? How did this happen, like channeling the energy? So,
I haven't actually met Amerie. I hope one day to meet her. But I know she had the song to sign off the interpolation. But no, she definitely influenced me a lot. I think that whole era of just the breakbeat, like that song for me defines an era in my life, because it defines this point where I realized that this is what I wanted to do as a profession. Because when I first listened to that song, I was like, wow, like I want to make girls feel the same way I do listening to my music, the same way I feel listening to her song. It just inspired me. Like I'd never heard anything like that song with the production and the way she's singing, especially in R&B. Like it wasn't a sonic that I was familiar with at the time. And I was like, I need to do something with this song. And to be honest with you, I have tried doing this song a fair few times. I've worked with about 4 or 5 different producers trying to rework one thing, and none of them hit. I was like, nah, this, I can't put
It's not meant to be.
You can't mess with a classic and
Yeah.
it be average. So I was like, do you know what? It was the first song I wrote in lockdown. I was like, do you know what? Why don't I use the best part of this song, which is the melody, and rework everything around it, rewrite the verses, the lyrics, and that's what we did. And it was definitely the best attempt that I'd made. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to drop this because I just love it. And hopefully she did too. I know someone had to clear it from her side. So Amerie, I hope you like it, and I hope I did it some sort of justice.
Big up Amerie. And obviously the original was produced by Rich Harlson, you know what I'm saying? And that sort of sound influenced an era. And many people say it kind of influenced Beyonce. I don't know, you might hear like sort
Crazy
of
in Love.
Yes, that I'm saying,
J-Lo,
same producer, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And that, so it was definitely an inspirational period.
100%. I think you can hear the inspiration in Crazy in Love with the drums, with everything. So yeah, who knows? It probably was the inspo behind Queen Bee's tunes.
I think people with good ears can definitely hear it. So you've worked a lot with the Invisible Men. I mean, you've worked closely. They've produced like 4 out of 7 tracks on the EP as well. Talk to us about this working relationship. They definitely have quite a legacy and an imprint in this UK architecture as well. So speak about this musical marriage here.
Musical marriage. I like the way I like that.
I
like the way you put that. Yeah, no. Do you know what? With Invisible Men, they produced Golden, which was one of the first songs I ever put out, and one of the first songs I've written actually with a producer, because prior to that I'd just been writing in my shed by myself, just kind of figuring stuff out.
A lot of artists writing their shed, you know what I'm saying?
My leopard print shed. But when I met them, there was just this synergy that I was like, why fix it if it's not broken? I don't need to go around and with every single producer and try, like, we have a great thing going here. Let's just write the whole project together. And they've ended up producing the majority of all my songs on all my projects. And they just have a really great ear, and everything that I envision for my music, they just understand it. And with Trippin, they really helped me bring that to life as well. With the production, they sent me that through first, and I actually wrote that over Zoom. It was John and I. We were on Zoom. He played the track. I muted myself, got my voice memos out, and then just sang. And within that first recording, I actually should.
This was a virtual inception.
Yeah, it was written virtually. That was all the melodies in pretty much the first round. And then we wrote it on the Zoom. But it's mad that I don't really feel like I can write on Zoom with any other producer, because Zoom it's not the easiest way to connect with someone. I need to be in person like this.
There's a connection, but there's a disconnect as well at the same time. Exactly. It's weird, man.
Exactly. But because we have such a good, like, even over Zoom, we have such a good way of working. Like, I'll send him the melodies, and then he'll just slot into Logic and cut bits out that he likes, and it just works. And they're super talented, and I'm super lucky to have the musical marriage with them.
Straight up. Now, like, a hot topic I've been speaking with a lot of artists about recently, with female artists in particular, is the pressures to sexualize and their music and bad B culture. Do you know what I'm saying? This is making a lot of females feel like they have to be a certain way in which they look. The pressures maybe to change the way they look, have body surgery and all these kind of things. Have you felt much of these pressures being in the music industry thus far?
There is definitely pressures on women. I think there's pressures on women in the way they look in every industry, but especially in music. I saw Alessia Cara performing on TV the other day, and she had some chip nail polish, and the performance was amazing. What she was saying was amazing. And I ended up on Twitter, and I just saw loads of people being like, she looks like she just rolled out of bed with chip nail polish. And I was just like,
you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah, like, what about her performance? What about the way she sang, the way I find it quite difficult to just stay calm when I see things like that, because I don't see the same thing being written about Ed Sheeran when he's wearing, you know, he looks sick, but like, you know, his t-shirt, and he's not necessarily got his nail varnish shirt up to scratch. But
you definitely look like he just rocked up certain times. You know what I'm saying? Like, just got out of bed and just threw on whatever.
Absolutely.
And that's no disrespect to you, Ed.
No,
but like,
he looks sick. And the same with Lewis Capaldi. It's like, you do your thing, you have every right to, but let women live equally, you know? It is hard to sometimes forget that there is that pressure, because, you know, when we do shows as women, we do have to engage with stylists, hair, makeup. We can't just, like most of the, you know, male guys, just rock up and just turn up, and that's great. And it is extra work and extra effort and extra pressure. But I think you shouldn't try and follow that rule. Go against it. Do an Alicia Keys. I'm not wearing makeup. No one can say anything. No one can force you to. Like, you don't have to follow the rules. And I think as long as you're getting ready for yourself, like I got dressed because, and I put my makeup on because this is how I want to present myself, not because I do feel so much pressure to, you know, appear a certain way. But it's important to stay true to yourself. And if you don't want to wear a ton of extensions and eyelashes and this and that, you don't wear it. It's
just strange that, like, it's accepted that these same pressures aren't on the male counterparts.
Double standards.
You know what I'm saying? It's weird. I'm sitting here as a dude talking about this, you know what I mean? And I see it glaringly.
No, I'm glad you at least see it, because a lot of people don't. I tried to having this conversation with a male artist the other day, and he just wasn't understanding it. I was like, do you not understand how much more work we have to do in order to just even do a little gig? Like, he literally would roll out the tour bus, and I was explaining to him, like, I have to be 3 hours having my hair and makeup done, being primmed and primmed, is that a word? Preened.
Don't they say
prim and proper?
Exactly.
That's where I got it from. Yeah. I'm not completely asleep, I promise. I didn't get my full 8 hours, but he just wasn't understanding it. At least you understand that the struggle.
It makes me just wonder, like, when I see some of these videos from the female artists, and they are maybe scantily clad, and maybe have got cheeks out and a lot of skin showing, if they want to do that or they feel like they're forced to do that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong. Like, I mean, there's owning your sexuality. But then I just really wonder if you want to do that or you're forced to do it. Because as a male artist, you don't necessarily have to get your chest and your packs out. No.
There is definitely a correlation, I think, with being, you know, more sexy and having more eyes on you, which is unfortunate. And maybe that is the thought process of some artists. But then again, if they look great, if you got it, flaunt it. Why not?
Hey,
if we're going to be sexualized, we may as well use it to our advantage.
It's a bit mad though, isn't it? Crazy.
SK Vibemaker.